Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Shahmin. I am the senior manager here. So today my presentation is about what is the effect of this COVID-19 pandemic towards our hospitality industry, and I will also share some solution to boost our industry in the future. So first, let's talk about COVID-19. What is COVID-19? So COVID-19 is the pandemic that started early 2020, that's still ongoing till today. Even though there's some countries that have recovered, at least not 100%, but recovered from this pandemic, but there is still country that is still struggling, especially in all kind of industry like Malaysia today, still struggling to move out from this pandemic. So this pandemic, of course, affected all kind of industry, especially hospitalities industry that consists of travel and tourism, food and beverage, hotels, restaurants, that industry that gather people around and that needs contact between people. So there will be two types of impact that hits hospitalities industries that I would like to share. The first one will be the operational impact, and then the second one will be the financial impact. The first operational impact is that every business in hospitalities industry, they need to consider to cut all the operational and capital expenditure, such as expenditure that does not include or does not give profit in return, such as annual dinners, events, and employees appreciation dinners. We know that this kind of event is needs to give appreciation to employees, but for this current situation in this COVID-19 pandemic, it is kind of expenditure that needs to cut out. Then the second one for the operational impact is that they need to consider rearrange or delay or maybe cancel any maintenance that are not necessarily needed or not important, because we know in this kind of industry, such as like hotels or restaurant and renting, this is the kind of business that need to have their maybe weekly or monthly services for to make sure everything is working well or working in good condition, but they need to cut out their expenditure in services also. So in financially impact, of course, this current pandemic, hospitalities industry is the one industry that hits really hard. So there will be no cash flow. I mean, there would be cash flow, but the cash flow will be slow and low. So when there is no cash flow, they will be financially constant. So in this situation, the owner of the business cannot pay for salary, pay maintenance and services and everything. There is a few solutions that I would like to share, both in short-term and long-term solution to boost our industries uh, in this pandemic. So the first short-term solution is to change our business approach. For example, uh, the hotel's business. Of course, in this pandemic, there is no tourists, there is no traveling, so it will be hard for us to have a customer. So what we need to do is to change our business approach and change the service that we provided is for people who having their quarantine, because we know even though there is a travel restriction and there is no tours, but people still come in and go out from our country, our state. So there will be people who needs to be quarantined. So why not we use our hotel to be hotel that's specific for uh, people who needs to be quarantined in this pandemic period. And then the second short-term solution would be to change the customer perception. So in this pandemic, people are very careful, especially about in financially. They are afraid to spend their money for something that less needed. So we need to be more aggressive in advertising our service to convince the people that our service is a bargain and is still reliable or useful in this pandemic. And then for the long-term solution, the first thing we need to do is to manage our key stakeholder. So the stakeholder is the people who give the fund to run the business. So the first thing we need to do is to convince them that that we have a solution to move out from uh, this pandemic, that we still can run in this pandemic, because they are very important to make sure we still have the funds to run the business. And then the second one is to manage our asset quality. What I mean by asset is like, for example, touring bus. Of course, in this pandemic, there is no tourists, no traveling, so touring bus is pretty much stranded for now. So what we need to do is to make sure the quality and then the maintenance of the asset is well managed, so we can use it anytime we want. As you can see, both of these graph represent uh, hotels business and restaurant business in some part of the world. We can see how negatively this pandemic COVID-19 impacted this business, which is from hospitalities industry. Last but not least, I believe that hospitalities industry can come on top of this pandemic one day, even before this pandemic ended 100%. It's just that we need to keep on improving our services, and then keep on finding a new solution, a new business way to make these industries survive in this pandemic period. That's all. Thank you.